Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy, cosmic bro, here to help you understand what is happening with the Earth energetically, with our solar system, our stars, the planets, and more. And well, there is a lot that's happening right now. We just had a magnitude 6.4 earthquake strike Indonesia, just south of the Philippines, where we have Mayon volcano that's been erupting. It's had like 9,100 pyroclastic flows just over the past 24, 36 hours. It's been a major eruptive sequence at Mayon volcano. You may have heard of that. I did see one report that Mount Ibu erupted today, but I can't confirm nor deny that. I haven't seen that really listed anywhere else, but perhaps that also occurred. Interesting alignment with that, if that is the case. But we definitely know that Semeru volcano also erupted in Indonesia over the past 24 hours, sent an ash cloud up 15,000 feet, that's 4,600 meters, and also sent a pyroclastic flow down the slopes about 5 kilometers. You can see some prior pyroclastic flows from Semeru volcano right there. So a lot of activity right now in the Ring of Fire. We've been having more earthquake activity up here in Kamchatka recently, and notable activity across the globe. We'll talk about that, but it's more than just earthquake activity and volcanoes. We have a big solar storm coming in. So we can see what launched from the sun. To check that out, here we have our 304 angstrom view of the sun, and you'll see just recently a burst of plasma come off right there. That looks like it's perhaps going to be hitting us. But at the beginning of the video right here, you'll see this plasma filament destabilize and just launch out, and that appears to be a pretty significant volcano that we or eruption of solar plasma that we have coming up headed our way. So that is about to impact, according to NASA. Here we have the NASA space weather model. They actually model a double impact because there were 2 events right around that time. And so you see this go out, and then that's expected to impact today at 9 a.m. Universal Time. Well, it's already past that now because it's 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That means it's 5:33 p.m. Universal Time. So it's a little delayed according to the space weather model. They often run these a little fast. I thought that was a bit fast, but we are seeing signs now of this solar storm coming in with some of our real-time data via ACE, which we can just quickly look at. We'll check out this data more in better detail. A lot to cover in today's video, but as you see here, our low energy protons have risen dramatically. These are order of magnitude jumps here. Each dashed line is a 10x increase. Actually, more than that, because it looks like we're going from 0 to 2 to 4. So this is a dramatic increase, a really dramatic increase in low energy proton flux coming in. That is what occurs when you have a solar storm about to impact the Earth. And so as a result, it looks like we are going to get a pretty significant impact from this. No real guarantees, but it does look like it is coming in hot, and also coming in less than 24 hours. I say actually probably less than 8 hours at this point, based off of the proton flux. And what happens is the plasma will sweep up any particles in front of it, kind of creates a high density wall, but it also, because there's these double electrostatic layers within these plasma sheets, it also accelerates particles in advance of this high density wall that hits. And so that's why you get this increase in the flux. It's not only those particles generated by the event, it's also ones being made locally in that location in interplanetary space that then begin pelting the Earth. All of this is happening during a really intense planetary alignment. Let me show you that. This has been a very strong planetary alignment because we've been seeing quite a bit of stuff with the Earth, the sun, but nothing really too outside the realm of normal, but definitely societally we are. And this was one of the things I've talked about, where these planetary alignments often express themselves societally. So we're seeing crazy things in the United States with Minnesota. What we did, well, I don't want to say what we did. what the powers that be with the United States did in Venezuela. I'm not here to get into it. We're seeing the regime maybe get overthrown in Iran. New attacks in Ukraine with like hyper ballistic missiles and stuff. So like the energies are ramping up like crazy, and this is a very significant planetary alignment that has those sort of archetypal significations baked into it. We have Jupiter, Earth, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars all in a line. Mercury being the only one slightly off. It will be more lined up later for its Cazimi, which involves Pluto, which is going to be later in January. But if you go back to today, we actually just had our Mars Cazimi. So that's when Mars is exactly opposite the Earth in relation to the Sun. So that is known as a period of time where the Martial themes, a new Martial cycle gets started and the Martial themes get reborn. That's war, that's aggression, things of this nature. I know I'm feeling it. I'm not feeling patient today, though I will do my best to be patient and understanding. So, and then you have Jupiter here in opposition, making everything bigger and just bolder and inflating things, and also providing maybe a glimmer of hope that things can work out and be better for everyone. But big stuff here. And then the other thing too, I think the biggest event we could agree on societally is the invasion of Venezuela that occurred, the capturing of Maduro. You know, we're not here to really get into it, but just think of it this way. You have an active military force going into a country, that's Mars, okay? And it's this big global world event that's on the news for everybody that changes the geopolitical power. That's Jupiter. And it liberates the resources, at this moment in time at least, it liberates the resources of Venezuela. That's Venus. So you have now the oil and the minerals and all this. It's going to start flowing to the United States. Also, like their gold and silver reserves. I think they had some crypto too. Like there was this liberation, not liberation, there was this acquisition, right, of Venezuelan wealth that's happened and going to be ongoing. That's Mars applying that martial warrior energy towards these Venusian domains, right? Breakdown also in relationships. We're seeing that happen right now, right? There's even talk about, well, if the United States takes Greenland, then we're going to be fighting our own allies against NATO. All of this is so stupid. It's so dumb. But regardless, that is what's playing out on the world stage. And that is the sort of thing that you see with these sort of planetary alignments. And it's not just those planets. We also have Saturn and Neptune conjunct in the sky once every 35 to 37 year event, with Pluto and Uranus in harmonic aspects to that. This is 60 degrees right there. That is also 60 degrees right there, 120 degrees apart. This is very rare. This is not common. This sort of alignment where every single planet in the solar system is participating is not common and very special. So that has been active and is still active at this moment in time. And so I'll keep you up to date on that. But some of this energy is going to continue on into later January. It's the most active right now in terms of the alignment, but that doesn't mean that it can't express itself more for the next couple weeks. And I think this alignment also has a lot to do with what's happening here on Earth, especially earthquake activity. I had that podcast interview with Frank Hugerbeets. We talked about planetary geometry and earthquakes. Give that a watch. Give his channel a follow if you want to learn more about that. That's SSGEOS. But at the same time, as we have this alignment and some other things, we have this coronal hole on the sun. So we have this solar storm that's coming in. We also have this high-speed stream coming in from this trans-equatorial coronal hole. It has the negative polarity, meaning it connects nicely to Earth's magnetic field, and geomagnetic volatility over the past 12 hours has been ramping up. We are now, it's not going to be a long duration connection, but we may get a second connection with this piece right there. And someone mentioned something interesting about how this kind of looks like the Pacific plate of the Earth, and it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of similar in terms of the outline. So I think that's interesting. And that's where we've been seeing a tremendous amount of activity earthquake-wise on the globe, which we can look at right here. So here we have our earthquakes. We see that 6.4 right there, Indonesia. Again, no tsunami threat from that. Thankfully, there was a 5.2 aftershock that occurred right afterwards at a further down at 49.5 kilometers. And then we had this 4.3 that occurred before the 6.4 to the north in the Philippines. So the 4.3 isn't really too crazy, but it is, close together in time and in location. A lot of activity off Kamchatka recently. We had the big magnitude 8.8 megaquake there, July 29, 2025. We had a bunch of magnitude 7s and 6s in this area in 2025. Hopefully that's all done. I don't think we're going to see more mag 7s there for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised by some magnitude 6s. But a bit of an increase today, the 5.0, 5.2. We have another 5.0 right there. So some significant activity. And we also had an antipodal quake to California last night, 5.5 right here. So this is pretty closely antipodal, opposite side of the globe, to Mexico and California. It's roughly this location right here. So often we see these sort of antipodal earthquakes ping pong back and forth. And if it's a lower magnitude, then sometimes it's a precursor, a little bit of a heads up for something bigger with this planetary alignment, with the solar storm coming in, so much stuff. There's a lot happening. There's more than just that too. We're going to come back to this, but we also right now have Hawaii starting to overflow with lava. So episode 40 looks like it's going to begin for Kilauea Volcano on the big island of Hawaii. We see that the lava overflow has begun. At this stage, what could happen is that this could, in the next 10 minutes, start to go off. It could also be 10 hours from now. It could be a day or two more. Sometimes we get these lava overflows and then it does go back down. But if you track, if you look at the history of these episodic eruptions for the past year and a few weeks, you will find that they often line up with geomagnetic storms. It's kind of wild, but you can look through the record, and often Kilauea is going off within 24 hours of us getting a solar storm impact. So it's an interesting cycle. There is a resonance already with this, where it's about every 10 to 14 days we get an episode. This is why we're on episode 40 now, right? It's more than a week because there's 52 weeks in a year. It's been more than a year now. But this may be 6 hours from now. It may be 10 minutes from now. Once you're at this level, it is sometimes settling goes. So Kilauea is also erupting at this moment in time. And we can look at Mayon volcano here. This is what happened on the 9th. So they had quite a lot of activity. Again, like something like 80, 90, 100 pyroclastic flows. They were evacuating people. Quite a lot of activity. And this could be like just a one-off where it just kind of a big burst and then cools down. Perhaps this is really showing that something big is going to happen. You notice the slope here of the volcano. It's a tall stratovolcano. These volcanoes, sometimes they will erupt and they will go from a mountain to a caldera, right? And the volcano just disappears. Sometimes that happens. It's not every single time. Often you get a flank collapse like Mount St. Helens, or you just get the top to get blown off. But sometimes the explosions are so strong that what was once a volcano and a mountain sticking up and rising up from the ground turns into a depression, a caldera in the ground. And all that just straight up into the atmosphere, shockwave, dust all around, stratosphere, and more. So I don't think that's a high likelihood. I just think it's important to be aware of that, because we live in a pretty comfy society and world nowadays, for a lot of people at least, and we look at these things like they don't happen. But you can go back to 1815 with the eruption that occurred. I believe that was Krakatoa, or it was Mount Tambora. It was one of the two, right? Just a huge explosion, volcanic winter. We have these sort of events that have occurred across time, and they will continue to go forward. I'm sure we'll have a huge volcanic eruption in the 21st century at some point, or multiple, that is going to be a big shock factor. And well, the conditions right now are pretty much perfect for it to occur. Not saying it's going to, we hope it doesn't happen, but if you look at this stuff in the history and you track planetary alignments, you track solar activity, all this stuff, you see that, well, often these sort of planetary alignments like we have right now, paired with this sort of solar activity we have right now at the very end of solar maximum, so we've just been loaded with energy for 3 years now, is what often leads to those sort of big events or big earthquakes. We had one of the largest earthquakes on record last year. We're starting off 2026 pretty strong with a bang. So yeah, a lot that's happening. And also something to talk about with earthquakes here is this earthquake that occurred off the coast of Italy within the past 24 hours. This is only a magnitude 5.1, but I'm telling you about this because it's the biggest earthquake that Italy's had in some time, but also this visualization is really cool and it shows us the physics of earthquakes. So I can't definitively say this. I think red is up and blue is down. They don't have a legend for this, but that is the typical color scheme for seismic waves because we're looking at vertical displacement here. But if that is the case, look at how we have this alternating sequence of motion up and motion down generated from that earthquake, that underground explosion effectively, right? We see that at the beginning there is motion up that ripples out and then perpendicular is motion down. So it's kind of like this, right? So here's the motion up, there's the motion down, and then it alternates and we get it flip right there. I just think this is super cool. It's a very complex pattern, and it's a little bit different than you may think. Like there's a structure to this and like a harmonic aspect to this. It's not just a simple kind of, oh, well, the ground shakes. So like there's an inherent math and beauty to this, you could say. So this visualization from the INGV is quite cool in that regard. And we have another one here as well for the Philippines. So if you get a big earthquake like a magnitude 6.4, that seismic energy ripples out across the globe. It can be detected by the global seismic network. In fact, if you have like a magnitude 4.5 or greater, the global network can pick it up now, but the big ones really get picked up. So here we see the seismic energy from that 6.4 Indonesia ripple across North America. This is super cool. Again, this is motion up is red, motion down is blue, and we see these seismic waves go across all of North America. We have Canada, United States, Mexico, even parts of the Caribbean there. Anywhere there's a seismic station, we are registering this. Of course, these waves are going all across and also the Pacific. We see some stations there, Hawaii. Everything's feeling this energy. It's just where we have the seismic stations that we see this up and down motion very clearly because we gathered the data there. So these earthquakes are very powerful, and as you scale up, they get only more and more powerful. 6.4, that's a big earthquake. You wouldn't want that to hit your city. A 7.4, that's a lot more energy. That's 32 times more energy released. So it can really get wild. Again, we had that magnitude 8.8 July of last year, so less than 6 months ago. And that was also during the same a very similar planetary alignment that we have right now. We also had Saturn and Neptune conjunct, and we had Mars behind us on the other side. So very similar planetary alignment to what we have right now. So this 6.4 could be the first of a few big earthquakes over the next few days because we had that coronal hole high-speed stream impact. Again, we see this coronal hole here, and we are now in that solar wind regime. We'll check that out in just a second. So we have all the factors effectively lined up. The solar activity with the coronal hole high-speed stream, a solar storm coming in, the planetary alignment, and we already have earthquake activity, and we're seeing volcanic activity distributed across the Ring of Fire as well. So maybe the Ring of Fire should be on the highest alert level right now of the different places globally. Hard to say. Nailing an exact location for an earthquake prediction is difficult. It's possible, but you're not going to be 100% on it. California is definitely an area to watch. It's one of the big parts of the Ring of Fire that hasn't had a big earthquake in a long time. So keep that in mind as well. We can look at our real-time solar wind right here to get a sense of what's happening. So here we have it, and I'll move to this side. You'll see that geomagnetic volatility has been ramping up. This is our 7-day view. Down below is our KP index, a measure of geomagnetic volatility. You see that we've been hitting active levels a few times now. Our latest number was 4.33. Our solar wind conditions there are starting to get enhanced, as you can see, with our southward component going negative. It's not the strongest solar wind. Normal strength is 5 nanotesla. This is 8 nanotesla. But it is in general just increasing geomagnetic volatility because of the good connection that exists, and it's slightly elevated, about 60%. Density is still pretty high right now at about 5. Solar wind velocity did go up. It went up to 550 at one point. So this coronal hole high-speed stream impact has not been the biggest. But again, if we go back here to our NASA space weather model, we are expecting to get a jump in the density and the solar wind velocity from this impact. And because we have these high energy protons, or these low energy protons greatly enhancing, that looks to be the case. So again, we can look at that right here, and we see that our low energy protons have really gone up significantly, multiple orders of magnitude. And that is what occurs before you have a big solar storm impact. So I don't think we would have seen this much of an enhancement of these protons right here if this was going to be a miss, or even just like a slight impact, like a flank impact. This looks like we got a pretty surefire hit coming in. That's what it seems to me. Hard to say definitively, but that's what it seems to me. And if you look at the 304 angstrom imagery of the sun, that's also what I kind of get the sense of right here. Just looking at this plasma filament erupt, we'll go back to that. That was a nice Earth direct shot. Yeah, the bulk of it went down to the south. We saw that in the chronograph imagery, but still like right towards us. And we'll see at the very end this other puff of dark plasma get launched towards us. That doesn't seem to be all that significant, but that is also now inbound as well. So that could lengthen the geomagnetic volatility that we have coming up for the next 24, 48, 72 hours or so. So a lot happening right now, as you can tell. It's not quiet at all on the Earth. Let's just say that. We can look, and some of the energies that you may have been feeling are this Mars Cazimi. I know I've been feeling it, so we can check that out. Here we have our chronograph view. This is our C2, our close look at the sun. The sun is denoted by this white circle there. We see the solar wind outflows at times. Nothing's really launched from the sun, as we see in the coronagraph for the past 24 hours. Again, we talked about that little dark puff of plasma. It doesn't show up here, but there's Mars, there's Venus. So Venus came in, and on the 7th, she did her Cazimi with the sun, the 6th and the 7th of January, and then they met up, and Mars and Venus met up and did a conjunction 8th and 9th of January. Now it's January 10th, and we see right here Mars going exactly Cazimi with the sun. So this is a new Marshall cycle that's about 2 years long, and maybe you've been feeling impatient or just in general like angry. I don't know. I've just been feeling kind of impatient recently. But that could just be me, not really tolerant, you could say. That's kind of a Marshall thing. So it's good to be aware of these things, so then you don't necessarily just have to be your feelings, right? If you feel something, doesn't mean you have to act like that. So that is the goal, to practice patience and tolerance, but also to educate people and, to raise the level of education and consciousness, because it's good to be patient and tolerant, but we also just don't want there to be stupidity. So that, I think, is important. We need to do better. So a lot happening right now. This is a good opportunity, if you are feeling these energies, to take that and channel it towards something, a creative project. Go out there, do a long walk, have a good workout, go for a swim, something, anything. This is just like hot running energy. And so it's good to move your body. I know after this live stream, that's exactly what I'm going to do, and just kind of like burn it off or channel it towards a creative process. You'll be really focused and in the flow today if you do that. So that would be my recommendation of something that you could do. And we'll go back to Hawaii here. So yeah, I mean, this planetary alignment seems to really be expressing itself societally. If you study into the planets and the archetypes, you see how they're expressing themselves beautifully right now through what's happening. I mean, it's not beautiful for a lot of people on the ground, but it is a perfect representation of their archetypes in action and how they synergize together. So it really is quite remarkable. So some people are asking, why is the beginning of 2026 so absolutely nuts? And it's like, well, guys, it's the planetary alignment. I mean, that's certainly an aspect of it. The planets are conscious. They are super consciousnesses. They interact with the sun, with the entire solar system, with the Earth. There is a morphic resonance energy field, a consciousness field to the solar system. These are all the things that I believe. This is what I operate off of and go off of, and it's done very well for me. It just is a higher understanding of what's actually at play, right? We are just small little ants in a bigger drama, so we are not the end all be all on this planet. I think too many people are wrapped up in that. And when the planets get into certain geometric positions, things are different than when they're kind of not in harmonic aspects and stuff. And so right now, everything's in a harmonic aspect. It's really quite interesting. So a lot of activity, and we see Hawaii starting to bubble up more and more. I wouldn't be surprised if Kilauea pops off in the next few hours. I think it'll probably happen right as that solar storm comes in. So, but we're already seeing geomagnetic volatility rise up at this moment in time as described. So I just want to check to see if that's everything that I had to present. I believe it is. And with that, we'll do a question and answer. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. I'll take some from the general chat before moving on to the super chats. If you want your question answered, then please ask it with a super chat, and I'll 100% get to that, but I'll also take some from the regular chat. We can also, before we do that, but you can start asking your questions, we can look at our seismic activity level, our global seismic activity level for the past 90 days, and we see that our current seismic activity level is high from that magnitude 6.4 earthquake in Indonesia. Here was the magnitude 7.6 that hit Japan. You see that we've had some regular magnitude 6 earthquakes during this time frame, and I think it's only a matter of time before we pop off again with another Mag 7. I mean, undoubtedly it's going to happen at some point, but I think it's coming in sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a magnitude 7 within the next week. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this is the first earthquake as part of a seismic burst, because often we see these seismic bursts. Like this is the tiny one right there, where you get this clustering of time. Mag 7, Mag 7.6, and magnitude 6.7 right there, all within just like less than a week. I think that's probably going to be happening over the next few days, but we'll wait and see. We don't exactly know. But yeah, so it is a tremendous amount that's happening right now. Let's get to some of these questions. And the first one I'll answer is from Sol. Should we expect an Earth direct flare as part of our Monday 7-day outlook? And so that requires us to see what is happening with the sun in terms of sunspot activity. So I'll look at our current synoptic map. We have sunspots right now, Earth facing direct. We do have some sunspots that will still be Earth facing direct at that moment in time on Monday, though they'll be slightly off. Let me show you. Here we have our synoptic map for today. We see 4339 is not yet Earth center. So by Monday, it'll be probably more over here. 4334, which has been the active one, will be further off. Unlikely to cause something that would fling our way, but possible. It would have to like really angle it. And then 4336 here will be approximately Earth center direct on Monday. So it's possible, 4339 is a pretty big core, but it's, you know, it's hard to say. There's really not that many sunspots on the sun right now, but we can check this out really quick, which is the activity that occurred exactly during the Mars-Venus conjunction. This was on the 8th, and right as that occurred, we had that big full halo coronal mass ejection. So that sunspot on the 8th was exactly opposite on the other side of the sun. So it's 14 days away from being Earth center and direct. So that is going to be rotating in unless it disappears and just goes away, fades away during that time frame. Maybe it swings around, it's actually bigger and badder than it was on the far side. But this is what I'm talking about, how these planetary alignments can trigger these sort of events. Because right as that goes exact, right? Look at that. I mean, it's too much to write off. It's perfect timing. This is super close view. So that is like within just an arc minute or two apart. If that, maybe arc seconds apart as you get that halo coronal mass ejection on the sun's far side. So it's really incredible to see this stuff play out in real time. One from Garden Spiders, are we seeing anything weird going on with neutrinos? Not that I'm aware of, but they don't release this neutrino data really that quickly to the public. And our neutrino detection rates are super, super low still. So it's not like we're really getting a good record of neutrinos. We do see modulations with neutrinos due to the solar cycle and some other cosmic things, but we don't have like a daily plot, as far as I know, that you can look at to be like, oh, wow, big burst of neutrinos today. That'd be great, but at this moment in time, it's still, probably in 20 years we will, but it doesn't seem to be data that's available right now, at least not to the public. And we just need more of the detectors. Neutrinos are very weakly interactive, so they barely ever interact with matter. And Chris is asking a question, is it good or bad to stand outside in the sunshine during a solar storm? Well, the sun is always shining light. These are light photons. During a solar storm impact, you have the plasma hitting the Earth. The sun shining on you is not, that's different. That's the sunlight from the sun. The plasma traveled through space. Now it's interacting in the upper atmosphere, creating geomagnetic volatility. You're fine. Don't be afraid of the sun. The best thing you can do with the sun is just pay attention to your skin. Learn to build that sense. If you go out and you feel your skin, then know it's time to cover up or go inside. So build a sense of like what your skin is telling you, because if you do that, your skin will say time to cover up. Or it'll be like, this feels amazing. That's exactly what I do. When I go out and I'm at the beach or whatever, if my shirt's off, let's say, right, I'll have that off until my skin's saying time to cover up. And then I cover up. I don't think about it, feel it. That's the way to operate with the sun, your skin, and all that. It's good to get sun on your skin. You don't want to be afraid of the sun. That's the last thing that you want to do, is be afraid of the sun. It's what gives life to everything. So if you're afraid of the sun, it's not going to work out from you. Probably going to come down with something. You don't want that to happen. If you're using too much sunblock, you're going to come down with something. Probably be smart about it. But yeah, I mean, just to follow up, I mean, there's times I've gone out and there's tons of activity. I'm like, wow, it does feel pretty sharp today. So then you take the appropriate precautions, or you just go back inside, do whatever. We'll go to some super thanks now. Rye Guy Senior, love what you do, Stefan. My bro spells his name the same way. Keep up the amazing work. That deep sea meditation the other day was awesome. Thank you so much, Rye Guy Senior, for the support, and happy to help you with that. We will be doing more meditations on the channel. I'm looking into perhaps doing like a 24-hour meditation with the help of other people. I don't know when that's going to be though, because I have a big trip coming up, so it's going to be difficult, but I like the idea. So sometime in 2026, we'll do that. That'd be great. And another one from you, so thanks so much. And some new members. Thank you, Diamond Encrusted, for the super thanks, and for that one as well. Awakening with Amrit. Maybe this is the Amrit. Probably not, but another Amrit. Hello and welcome. Will you please do a video on chemtrails? I've talked about them before. You can go through my videos and find some of the videos I've talked about them, specifically the one from Texas from, I think it was June of 2025. So I look into that. I talk about them every now and then. So I have done that already. So thank you for the super thanks. And Gray Scout Epsilon, what do you think about Donald Trump designating NASA as an intelligence agency? Also bought Dana's book, so good. Yeah, I pay attention to world events, but a lot of it is a show. It's just a charade, and I don't really devote too much of my brain power towards analyzing, for example, oh, NASA's an intelligence agency now. So maybe I should. Maybe I'm on the right track by not doing it. I think too many people are over-invested in this stuff already, personally, and it doesn't affect them. Like, it's not affecting their life. But when it's time to get the hell out of Dodge, like, get out of Dodge. So in terms of NASA's ability to report information and data and such, I mean, basically, the top-level view is that the current president of the United States is doing everything he can to accumulate power under his umbrella and to effectively create like an empire, right? This is the Pluto return for the United States, the creation of, let's say, the American empire versus the American republic. And we haven't been a republic for a long time, folks. If you think that your vote matters, well, I'm sorry to break it to you. Your vote doesn't matter. Maybe at the local level it does, barely at the state. Federally, your vote means nothing, right? The Electoral College confirms that. So I think we're just seeing a bunch of power grabs continuously. The Federal Reserve is next. So just be aware of that, right? This is the trend that we're going towards. Like, think about you're an independent country with Venezuela. Yeah, it's a dictatorship. It's an independent country. And you're just a citizen there. And literally overnight, a new country comes in and takes it over, basically, right? Like, that's kind of insane. Think if that was like the Netherlands or anywhere in Europe, or let's say that was like the Philippines or something. Like, it's just kind of a wild thing to think that you have this independent governance. You know, Venezuela declared independence like in the 1800s. I think it's like 1812 or something. That doesn't mean anything now. So just, yeah, like there's a lot of crazy stuff happening out there. So there's more important things to worry about than designations. What's going on with the Earth swarms behind Yakutat and Icy Bay, Alaska, volcano? No. There's a fault system there that's been quite active. And as a result, there's been thousands of earthquakes. And I think it's just part of a larger regional stress relief. That's my assessment. We'll look at that right here. And we see that if we list earthquakes only on the map, we have right here 848 earthquakes. If we go to our highest magnitude, that's not including the magnitude 7 and the swarm that occurred after that, because that was outside this time period here. So a ton of earthquakes here. Yeah, it's pretty significant. And I mean, you see all the earthquakes that have occurred here, right, within Alaska, but this definitely is a pretty big seismic release from the Yukon. And that's why I think that California perhaps could be coming up, because we have this big seismic release here. We had the 6.5 Mexico near Acapulco. We had other magnitude earthquakes in South America that were pretty significant, like the 6.2 and some 5s. And so California, specifically Bay Area, has only had one magnitude 6 in 26 years. It's pretty wild. 2 magnitude 5s and that's it. Like, it's really, Bay Area is like way overdue. So I don't like to say that, but that's just kind of what it is. We'll find out and we'll see soon enough, I suppose. And from Kathy, thank you, Stefan. I'm grateful for you. Thank you. I'm grateful to you too as well. Happy Saturday, everybody. Good morning. I'm your host, Stefan Burns, geologist, space weather guy, cosmic bro, just someone here to trying to understand what's happening, educating others on it. That's really the goal. Just want to say thanks for doing these live streams pretty often these days. There's a lot going on. You are quite welcome. Thank you for the super thanks. I hope all is going well for you in Turkey. So I wish you the best there. And Plasma Memory Restored, a big supporter of the channel, with a comment. I agree. It feels like the door is aligned and open, and feeling of being ready to go is creating this feeling of okay now, or when, or what is it? It's almost exciting and irritating. I think exciting and beautiful, yes. Yeah, there's just a ton of energies right now. So It's not just the Mars Cazimi, the Venus Cazimi, the Mars-Venus conjunction, the Jupiter opposition, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, the harmonic, minor grand trine. They're all converging together right now into a larger synergistic energy, and it's possible to feel into those different frequencies, and maybe if you resonate with one more than the other, then you kind of default to that, but they're all occurring right now simultaneously. So it is a really incredible time period right now, a lot that's happening. Thank you for the super thanks, wishing you well, and yeah, happy to see you here with your support. And Black Rosie with the comment about the movie 2012, which I watched for the first time recently, which was mind-blowing because so many of these internet conspiracy people that the world is going to end, that's what they're talking about, basically just took the plot of 2012, the movie, which came out in 2009, and then just ran with that. And a lot of these people didn't start talking about this until after that movie came out. Like actually most of them, if not all of them. So yeah, the guy who was at Yellowstone and then, Yellowstone erupted. I can't remember his name. But he was played by Woody Harrelson, which kind of looks like me. People say that we have a resemblance, though I'm not bald like he is. But yeah, hoping to not be that guy, but hoping to be right like that guy was, because he was right. But I'm not gunning to go to Yellowstone to watch it explode. I want to live out a long life. That is the goal. Your voice matters. Your vote not so much. Yeah. Vote with your dollar. Vote with your location. Vote with who you pay. Like vote with your time, your attention, and your time. But your actual vote on a piece of paper, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's at least what I think. But it doesn't. It doesn't. There's truth, and then there's also falsities, and like that's just what it is. The falsity is that they want you to think that it's true. It's not. At a local level, sure. So yeah. Yeah, and I would also agree with this. So thank you, Renee. It is a theatrical show. We're just trying to see beyond the curtain. And we'll sign off with this. Cosmic Bro, thank you for your time and energies. Much love to everyone from Mina, Nevada, your family vacation destination location. Well, thank you so much for these super thanks and for everyone for joining in today on the video. I hope you found some useful information from this. Magnitude 6.4, Indonesia, multiple volcanic eruptions. Hawaii is gearing up right now to do episode 40. A big solar storm appears to be coming in, and the planetary alignment maybe of the century is happening right now. A massive planetary alignment is occurring, and we just got this super thanks to come in as well from Marius out of Poland. So dziękuję, thank you all so much. Wishing each and every single one of you well. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next video.